I would have had a player standing there though and cocked the leg and imitated peeing on the player's leg as if he was my owner. That's what I would have done. That's how you take it to the next level.
Hello and welcome to another episode of RugbyPass Offload with me, Christina Mahon, and today I'm joined by Dylan Hartley and Ryan Wilson. How are you guys?
Very well, thank you. I don't play rugby anymore, so I feel great. I saw Ryan's result of the weekend though, licking the wounds, mentally, physically.
Yeah, man, definitely. I'd like to be in your position at the moment, just doing nothing.
It's not that good. I've been digging footings today, which was miserable. So.
Oh no! See, that sounds like heaven to me.
No, it's not when you've got to do it. Trust me. Yeah, how was it, mate? It was a bit of a hiding. Let's not beat about the bush.
Yeah, it was. It was a complete hiding. I don't know what to say. We don't even know what to say.
What was said after the match?
It was pretty bleak, to be honest. I mean, Tommy Seymour got his 150th cap for the club and also got concussed. So everyone was just in a really foul mood afterwards, stuck in a little marquee out the back. They've done the same sort of thing for their COVID stuff, put us in a marquee out the back, and it was just dark. Listen, we didn't get the rub of the green. We certainly didn't have the officials on our side. I know I can come on here and make so many bloody excuses, but we didn't help ourselves. I think we gave away 10 penalties in the first 30 minutes.
Well, guys, this is our last episode before Christmas, so I want to know what Christmas is like for a professional rugby player. Ryan?
It's not Christmas, is it? Honestly, it's crap. I'm not even going to try and... Dylan, you'll be so happy sat at home looking forward to a Christmas this year.
It's my first one. I'm so excited.
Oh, I know. That's one thing I look forward to. There's two things I look forward to when I'm done with rugby. Being able to book a holiday when I want and just say, right, I'm going on holiday at this time and book it in advance. Save myself a fortune. Being Scottish, I've got to look out for the pennies.
I just have to ask you, Dylan. Dylan, you have a lovely hoodie on there. Where did you get that hoodie from?
Wow.
It's very wonderful.
RugbyPass. Thank you very much. Keep me warm, keep me dressed. Thank you. Free merch. We've got merch. The pod's got merch.
When do we get ours, Christina?
I was told it was in the post. So, hopefully sometime soon. Where's your beanie?
Not here.
Oh, Jesus. Well, make sure to head over to rugbypass.shop and check out our pretty cool merchandise. So, Dylan, we spoke with Ryan about the concussion story as it was breaking last week, but I wanted to get your thoughts on players taking legal action against the governing bodies over the long-term concussion issues.
So it's so big, it's like a rabbit warren. Like, where do we go with it? Look, if it's not just one person, is it? There's a group of people, and they're all of a similar age. And if there's negligence involved somewhere, if something's been covered up or not been shared or conveniently not swept under the carpet, but I think there's definitely a case there because, well, there is a case, whether what we say or not, there's something going ahead. So it's ultimately quite scary. It's upsetting because the game obviously now needs positivity. We need to rebuild the game after COVID and kick and defend rugby. Everyone's moaning about that. I quite like it, but rugby needs good stories, and this unfortunately feels like it might have been bubbling away for some time now, and now we have to kind of wake up and smell the roses and deal with it, because I don't think it's something that's just going to go away. It's serious, and for all those involved, it's if you read some of the kind of the personal kind of stories behind it, it's heartbreaking. It's fucking scary.
And I suppose, I know you spoke about it a while ago on the podcast about a concussion you received when you scored in a Heineken Cup final. So do you ever worry about the long-term concussion issues that you might face, or is it something that's in the back of your head?
It's in my head, yeah. Look, it's one of these things. I have my own issues. I don't really want to kind of delve into what I struggle with and what my concerns are, because I'm kind of fully aware this gets picked up and put in newspapers and whatnot. So I'd rather keep it personal, but I have my concerns,
Have you spoken to Steve Thompson or any of the others involved about the case, or?
Yeah, I know a few guys involved, and I'm in regular contact with them. And I think that's the scariest thing is this isn't like a doom and a scaremongering kind of story. These guys have families and they're genuinely struggling. And I think it's kind of scary to think that NFL's had, CTE and issues with this injury for some time. And we play a very similar sport and we've never recognized, CTE in our players. And we've always seen guys that have had drink problems, bankruptcy, divorce, drug problems, self-harm, suicide, dare I say it. And we've always said things like they haven't transitioned well, which is a big concern. And look, these guys might not have transitioned well, but a lot of those things are linked with CTE as well. And it's like, isn't it crazy to suggest that we haven't had CTE until now, So I think it's pretty scary for the game, if I'm honest. And obviously for all those involved, there's families and behind every story,
Would you change rugby to avoid these issues? Would you suggest maybe less contact in training or? Yeah,
I think that's a pretty good solution. Like if I signed up to the game, and this is the other thing, like I've seen loads of people, and I want to say this because it needs to be said. There's a lot of people saying I would do it all again. But these, I've looked at these guys. These are guys that have got sore shoulders, sore knees. These are not guys with early onset dementia. Like if you said to me, if I had early onset dementia right now and you asked me, would I do it all again? I'd say no, because I want to live a long life and I want to recognize who my kids are and my wife and those sorts of things. If I could do it all again and have buggered knees and a buggered back, I'd take that chance. But when I started, Ryan, when you started, until today or this week, last week, I didn't know dementia was a potential outcome for any rugby player. That wasn't kind of educated or taught to us. That wasn't an option, Look, I think the game is what it is. They're doing a good job of refereeing the laws of high tackles, and they've taken a really strong standpoint on, red cards. And we all sit here and a lot of people sit there and say the game's gone soft, but for good reason. Seatbelt tackles are being outlawed and all these things. So the game is doing what it can in that respect. But I remember going to a World Rugby conference in Monaco in 2016, and there's a whole lot of things going around the table. And I actually said, my point at the meeting, the one thing I said was, I think contact training needs to be regulated because at the time, my international environment was very structured and we knew how much sort of work we had in the week. But then you'd go back to a club environment where it was just, up to whoever was coaching that day, how they felt, how long would go for and how many we would do. So I kind of said back then, we need to look at NFL and how they regulate and almost an independent, organization for clubs and environments or rugby clubs or teams to feed into, to be monitored, because there's no way people should be experiencing concussion during the week. If we can eliminate those risks, but again, you want players to be conditioned for purpose. So it's a tough argument. I think if we can control what happens in the week, that would be a good place to start.
I mean, you hear some of these stories of these guys getting knocked out in training and then people just having a laugh and a joke and picking them back up and saying, you're all right, and stumbling around the pitch. Like if we saw that now, I think even the players are being coached to spot things on the field. Like that's what we're all getting coached at the moment. Like you spot anything in a teammate. I mean, I've had games where we were playing and Bernie Stortoni was Argentinian. He started speaking in Spanish on the pitch. He's calling moves in Spanish, and the guys are obviously picking it up. Bernie, what are you talking about? And I had to say, no. And that's, you see there's these little telltales that you can see. People getting angry, people are getting upset. I've been on the end of it. I go the angry route. Me and Callum Gibbons both got knocked out in the same game about a year and a half ago. And I was raging, sat in the thing. Betts comes down, my wife, to see me in the dressing room. And I'm like, what took you so fucking long? And all the boys are like, Wills, you all right? And she could see like that switch in me. Meanwhile, you got Callum Gibbons sat next to me, booing his eyes out on the bed, like crying. And it's mad. So you can spot all these little telltales. And I think we have made a shift, and it's going in the right direction. But yeah, it's unfortunate that it's taken till now. Eh?
So we're delighted now to welcome to RugbyPass Offload Ulster and Ireland fly half Billy Burns. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Pleasure to be on.
Welcome. We were actually just talking about Ryan's whiskey just before you logged on, so I'm sure he can send you some when it's built.
Oh, that'd be great. I love a bit of whiskey. It always goes down well, especially around Christmas time. Actually, it'll be good.
Too right, man. A hot toddy, as you have.
Lovely.
Hey, what about all the chat? A few weeks back, I did that England-Ireland game, and all they wanted to talk about was how the Irish are kind of pillaging the South Seas for talent, New Zealand, South Africa, and whatnot. And then they've come to bloody England and taken you. They've taken you.
Mate, do you know what? It's funny actually, because I did see that article come out in the middle of the week, and a lot of it was obviously like Lowy, because it was his first start, and Jamie Gibson Parker stuff. So I sort of went under the radar, which I was happy about. But yeah, no, like it was one of those things for me. It was always in the locker, and obviously the move to Ulster came along, and it worked out well for me, and things have gone all right since I've been there, and then obviously to get the call up, and it's something that I've always wanted to do, is obviously play international rugby. So yeah, I'm happy to be in the mix, and the Irish side of my family are very proud, and yeah, they're all right behind me.
What about the English side? They're not.
Yeah, I was going to say.
That's a good point.
Well,
they say they support me, but yeah, no, like I said, it was my grandfather who's Irish, and like my old man's always supported Ireland, and listen, I won't lie to you. Like as a kid, I supported England. Like it's just I could lie to you, but yeah, once the opportunity came, and I knew that I was going to go over to Ulster, I knew that it was an opportunity for me to hopefully push on, and like I said, play international rugby. So can't complain.
Well, congratulations on your first Ireland caps. Like I think it's absolutely class. But what did it mean to you to get those?
It was awesome. Like it's everything you work towards. I know it's cheesy and everyone says it when they've had their first cap, but like you want to play at the highest level, and to get that opportunity, like I was probably fortunate in a way that obviously this Autumn Nations Cup's come around now, and it's an opportunity for probably coaches to give guys who maybe they wouldn't chuck in the Six Nations an opportunity, and that's how I looked at it. It was a chance for me that any bit of game time I got, I just wanted to try and show that I could play at that level, and also prove to myself that I could play at that level. Yeah, like I was pretty happy with how I went. Like I didn't play a huge amount of rugby, which was a shame, but yeah, it going back to the question, like it means a huge amount to get out there, pull on that shirt, sing the anthem, and yeah, it was a day I'll never forget. That's for sure.
Decent. Well done, mate. I think everyone forgets, like when you look at those stories that came out talking about players moving around the world and stuff like that, you know, there's always a human story behind it all. Like I don't know your situation here in England. What are you laughing at?
Sorry, it's a big surprise.
What did you are?
Dylan can
I was about to say,
Dylan can only see himself.
Yeah, I'd say so.
No, I was going to say, like, the narrative in England is that you were set behind your brother, and here he is, he's just kind of turned up.
So, Billy, we were basically going to tee you up. So we had this lovely idea a few weeks ago. I actually completely forgot that you two are basically inseparable, even though you're in two completely different sides of the world. So we were like, we'll get Billy on, and we'll surprise him with Freddie, and it'll be a lovely little Christmas thing. And then I only saw, Freddie, you sent Billy a big hamper there like a few days ago. So... Mate, have you guys ever done an interview together?
Boy, do your mum shot 2 for 1 at Tommy Hilfiger or what?
Yeah. Hey, this is what I've got to do to speak to my little brother now. Since being capped to Ireland, mate, he don't even answer the phone to me. So I've got to jump in on... It's 1 o'clock in the morning here. I should be in bed.
Konnichiwa.
Well, thank you for staying up for us, Freddie.
To be fair, I just rolled out of bed, as you can see.
We were just chatting there about Billy's first cap for Ireland. What did that mean to you, kind of watching your brother tog out for the opposite team that you're on, I suppose?
As a proud Englishman.
Yeah.
Yeah, not a lot. Like I said, not a lot as I'm English, to be fair.
Not really bitter.
No, I think it's... I was really proud. And I think the main thing for me with Bill is, I don't want to blow too much smoke up his ass, but it's the fact that he saw the opportunity to leave Gloucester when they signed Cipriani, and you know, it was a big call for him on a very short sort of a short window for him to get to Ulster, and he took it, and it's sort of paid his rewards. And to see him be capped is no less than he deserves. So yeah, I was very, very proud. Keeps meaning that I have to wake up at stupid o'clock to watch him, but you know, I'll let it slide, mate.
Well, Billy, I know, well, James Lowe was on the podcast last week, and he was kind of chatting to us a bit about his initiation. Can you tell us a bit about yours?
Yeah, it was fairly quiet actually, because obviously we were locked in at the Shelbourne. So yeah, back to the Shelbourne. Luckily, Lowe went before me, and he went up and had to sing a song, and I think he'd probably say so himself. It wasn't the best rendition. So yeah, I went up afterwards, and that was really nice. They obviously, Faz had a few nice things to say about me, and the boys sort of give you a clap, and you get your cap, and then a little sing song. And we were fortunate enough to be able to have a few pints in there afterwards, which was good as well.
What was your song?
Mate?
I sang Uncle Cracker Follow Me.
Oh, nice.
Which I think it went down all right. Well, in my mind, it went down all right anyway, so that's all that matters.
Well, but that sounds a bit better than Lowe's. Jesus,
Yeah,
he said he got absolutely ribbed.
He got abused, yeah.
Is that right? Even the coach was slagging him off.
Yeah. He started singing in about 10 seconds. Faz told him to sit back down and think again, like.
Yes.
I saw Lowe's interview about Chris Ashton's criticism or feedback. Yeah. And I think the best thing about it all is James Lowe thinks Chris Ashton's retired. He said, you know, guys that are just out of the game, you know, throwing their 2p in and stuff like that. And I talked to Ashley in the week. I was like, he did you over there, mate. He doesn't even know you still play the game.
Classic.
Didn't even pick up on that.
I didn't even. I genuinely just thought he'd retired. Is he not
No,
playing
I
international
do you
anymore?
think he's? Are you a over
I knew he was still playing. I never picked up on Lowe saying that.
The disrespect. I thought it was I don't know if he's like really funny, just like slagging him quietly, or he just didn't know. I like that. Bill, were you waking up and watching your brother play?
Man, I texted him the other day because he had a warm-up game, and I said, "Is there any way I can watch a game?" But he said no. So thank God I haven't got to get up in the early hours because I've got a 6-month-old baby, so I've got my hands full enough as it is.
Freddie, what is it going to be like for you at Christmas? Like, what have you been told about Christmas in Japan?
So basically, we've got a full day's worth of training on Christmas Day, and then we've got an away game and a pre-season away game on Boxing Day. They don't really celebrate Christmas over here, but there's been an advertising ploy that from KFC that Americans just that the Americans all eat KFC on Christmas. So that's the actual like dish of the country on Christmas Day. So I'm just going to go and get a bargain bucket after training, and honestly, this place is bonkers. I'm in camp today. I had the most clean off day of training I've ever had. Like, we did 4 sessions, and the last session of the day was 2.5 hours long, and we pretty much played a match. They want the ball in play in a game in 45 minutes. So for 45 minutes. So they've worked out a way that we could do fitness and rugby like a game. Like, I was absolutely blown out my ass, and the coach blew the whistle, and I thought, oh, thank God that's done. He went, half time.
No, that's not what you were sold, is it?
No, I thought. To be fair, after boys here talking about James Lowe saying that Ashley had been retired, everyone thinks I work for the company like the rest of the boys here. People have been tweeting me saying, "Oh mate, what's it like working at the company during the day and then training at night?" I said, "Whoa, I'm still fully committed here."
Out on the forklift.
They suckered you in, mate, with the 10 to 12 games a year, but they didn't count the 10 to 12 in training.
Yeah, there's a lot of training games, but to be fair, they're not too bad. But the refereeing over here, I played my first 80 minutes on Saturday. Oh my, the refereeing is terrible. But hey, that's another day. But it's bonkers. Like, quick story. This is how bonkers. And the Japanese, like yesterday, our first session was at 6 a.m. It's a 15-minute walk. So about 30 of us left the hotel at 5:30 in the morning. There is no car on the road, okay? We come to a set of traffic lights. I just start walking across the road. I turn back. There's 30 Japanese lads behind me, refuse to cross the road until the green man's on.
You can't drive, okay?
Honestly, I had to turn around and go back.
It's illegal, isn't it?
But there's no cars on the road.
Is your squad full professional?
Nah, like, so, well, no, like the boys work at
No,
the company.
it was for Billy. But just some of the boys do a full day's training, then go to work for the company.
So we basically, so we've got 15 professionals, The rest work at the company. So I'll go in at 8, be wait sort of 8 till 9, and then the company boys will put their suits on or put their factory clothes on, and they'll go and work for Toyota, and then we meet back up at 3:45, team meeting in the dojo, and then we're out running Broncos and playing rugby for God knows how long. Honestly, it's I think that's the way in a lot of teams over here, but it is completely...
Well, you're not in that 15, are you? You're talking it up.
You put me off.
You do your weights, then you get your high vis on and go get on your forklift in the factory.
Mate, I've made 6 cars since I've been over here, mate. I'm well happy.
Oh, mate, at least you get the recovery in the Onsens. They're amazing. That's my favourite place on earth.
Yeah, but they have them about 1,000,000 degrees. Like, they are the hottest things in the world. And they love being naked over as well, eh? I've never seen anything like it.
We're going on to a bit about Manscaped. Jesus, talking about bushes.
Oh, don't even start me on it. I've never seen anything like it. These boys could have King Kong in their badge, you wouldn't see it.
Holy bush.
Bush.
Holy bush.
Wow.
Honestly, it is. I was shocked. I was honestly like, I've never seen anything like it, boys. It is a monstrosity, and girls, sorry, but it's a monstrosity.
And come here, Freddie, will you get to have some sort of like a Christmas party with your team, or will that be put on hold just with everything going on this year?
Talk to us and if there's any fancy dress.
Well, my first day was fancy dress. I've rocked up and they've put me in red lipstick and like a wig and like this kind of long skirt thing, like dress thing that I've had to do weights in. So the first time I met my whole teammates, I had red lippy on. But no Christmas. But like I said, they don't really celebrate it over here. So I think on Saturday, me and a few of the foreign boys might go into Nagoya and have a bit of a feed. But other than that, to be fair, I'm trying not to think about it because, like, obviously being from quite a tight family, Christmas is normally a good time to have a few beers and let rip with the family, and they're all there having Harrods Christmas hampers while I'm having a blooming bargain bucket of chicken and a zinger.
Don't worry, mate. We're not able to do it either at the moment with lockdown, so you're all right.
Yeah, fine, no, it'll be all right. Kind of is what it is. Just crack on with it.
Fred, whereabouts are you based in Japan, mate?
I am in a city called Kariya, which is just south of Nagoya, so I'm pretty much, it's really well situated. I'm slap bang in the middle of Japan. I've done a couple of road trips on my own. So I'd be honest with you, I'm not very spiritual. I'm not one of these about finding yourself and all that, but I'm really discovering the value of your own company out here.
That's the biggest load of shit I've ever heard in my life.
Hey,
biggest load of... You're discovering the value of cash. That's what you're discovering the value of.
Hey, and automobiles, mate. That's what I'm learning from the boys. But no, I'm really well situated. Obviously, COVID over here is a little bit. It's getting a bit worse, but they just tell you everyone wore a mask before anyway. So it's sort of everything's just carry on as normal. And yeah, like it's like, to be fair, because of the training times, I don't get too much time in the day to sort of, get out and about. So I just try and do it whenever I get a weekend off. But it's quite frustrating at times because you can't just have, especially being a fly half, you can't just have those little conversations with boys on the pitch. So it leads to a bit of frustration, but they just love playing full, like there's no structure. There's no like, oh, you go here, you go there. Like we haven't even practiced an exit play. I've been here 2 months.
Right, well, I think on that note, we'll let the both of you go. Billy, thank you so much for coming on, and congratulations again for your Irish caps. And Freddie, thanks for staying up and coming on to chat with us. And happy Christmas to you both.
Merry Christmas.
Cheers,
sorry, Bill.
Merry Christmas.
Sorry, Bill. Don't mean to be the embarrassing big brother, mate.
We'll get you on again, Billy, and have a proper chat. Thanks so much.
Cheers, guys.
Thanks, boys.
Merry Christmas. Cheers, guys. Take it easy.
Bye.
Well, guys, I suppose I know we chatted a bit about the World Cup draw there, but do you have any other thoughts on it? Like, do Scotland have the toughest group? Do England have the easiest? What do you make?
Look, I think England sit pretty. Argentina and Japan will obviously fight it, and I think Tonga is Oceania 1 as well. So I've got no concerns about England. I've got no concerns about Australia, South Africa, New Zealand, France. I think Ireland will go through. Wales, Fiji, that could be an interesting one. And obviously Japan, Argentina. But yeah, I think it's all pretty straightforward apart from Japan, Argentina, and I'd say Wales, Fiji.
Well, look, Wasps hooker Tom Cruise had a very unusual celebration after scoring against the Dragons. He cocked his leg and marked his territory like a dog. Was this fun or was this disrespectful? Ryan, did he think this through now before the game? Like, did he decide in his head,
Yes.
Yeah, this was pre-planned, was it?
He has discussed this in the changing rooms. He's spoken to the boys about it. This is pre-planned. It has to be. It has
Have you
to be
seen
pre-planned.
Yeah,
I have
it's
seen
so
it, yeah.
strange.
I've seen it.
It's not like he's done hip mobility or anything like that, is he?
No. He goes for the little crawl before and then cocks the leg. I would have had a player standing there though and cocked the leg and imitated peeing on the player's leg as if he was my owner. That's what I would have done. That's how you take it to the next level. I think it's good. I think it's funny. Like, footballers celebrate. They even celebrate and there's no bloody fans. So he's just having a laugh, and he's trying to get a little bit of enjoyment into it with no. Well, they probably did have fans actually at the weekend, didn't they? So no, I think it's quite funny. Listen, I don't think it's cocky. That's quite a funny one. There are some terrible ones. Like, there's some terrible ones out there, but I think that's hilarious. I think it's brilliant.
Well, what's the worst celebration you've seen?
For me, probably best and worst.
Yes.
I haven't been on the field, but I saw it in Australian rugby. The guys scored and gone to punch the air, celebrate. He's ended up chinning the guy coming from behind him to pat him on the back. And equally, Scotland, when you beat Australia down there, Joe Ansbro and someone over the top running in, clashed heads, massive gash on the heads, both off like stitches and everything.
Yeah, no, that was funny. I remember seeing that one. A player beating the chest of the badge for their nation when they're not even from that nation. I'm Scottish, mate. My nan and granddad are Scottish from Motherwell. So I don't score, though. I don't score. So I was not talking about myself, Dylan.
Mate, you got nilled at the weekend. You guys are going to look to just score a try.
I'm not talking about myself, Dylan.
I wouldn't be worrying about celebrations. You need to get Glasgow to win a game, mate.
So Nigel Owens announced his retirement as a test referee. What made him such a good ref, guys? Dylan, I'm sure you've come up against him a few times. What would you make? Why would you say he's such a good ref?
Do you know what? Like, Nigel, Sir Ref, he started somewhere. Like, I remember back in the early days before he was this all singing, dancing, great ref and personality. Like, he was like any other ref. Like, he was, he'd come under fire, and we had games where we won or lost, and you kind of have good or bad feelings towards refs. But like anyone, the older he got, the more games he got, the more mature he became. Like, he became loved and respected by players because. I said this on telly the other day. I think that the challenge for a ref is to not be noticed. And he seemed to go through games unnoticed in my experience, but equally kind of just sprinkling like his own little personality on the game, like his humor and the way he treated players and whatnot. And do you know what? I always, just call refs, ref, sir. And I was listening to Radio 4 one day and I heard his Desert Island Discs. And I'd never talked to Nigel outside of a professional environment, pre-match, post-match, during a game. And I messaged him on Twitter just saying, "Hi, mate, just listen to your Desert Island Discs, well done, whatever." And we started like a link of communication, and we back and forth. I think the coolest thing about Desert Island Discs is you get a snippet into someone's life and learn so much more about the person. And from that sort of half-hour radio show, I learned so much about Nigel, and it kind of made me reach out to him and say hello personally. And we had a nice little link. And then every time we worked together after that, because captains, we used to go see the referee on a Friday before a game. After captain's run, we'll go to the referee's hotel, sit down, because every international team, for our listeners that don't know this, have an audience. You can have an audience with the referees. You can, the senior coach can go with the captain if you want to talk about anything. You don't have to, but we always did it. So yeah, every time I worked with Nigel after that, it was really nice because it felt like, we were, I don't want to say we were best friends, but there's a bit more there. It's very nice.
I thought it was only, excuse me, I thought it was only 60-year-old women that listened to Desert Island Discs, but I actually listened to the same thing. And that story about when he first reffed and he got on the bus because he couldn't get there. Did you remember that bit from there? He basically gets dropped off down the road turns up to this rugby match, referees the match, the other team lose, he gets back on the bus and he sees the fans see him getting on the bus and are throwing shit and screaming at him. But it's, I listen to that same thing. You know, the best thing about Nigel is he's like personable. You can actually speak to him and engage in a communication, like a conversation, with him. And there are so many refs that take it far too seriously. And I think he gets that balance spot on. Okay,
well, Ryan, what was your best Nigel Owens interaction?
Mine was definitely World Cup 2015 against South Africa. And he will absolutely kill me for saying this, but he did get one over on me at the weekend by hosing us 42-0. But Stuart Hogg, 2015 World Cup, we're playing at St James's Park, home of Newcastle United Football Club. And Hoggy's clearing a kick out of our 22 or something. And I think it was the Beast that came for the charge. And touched Hoggy's shoulder, and Hoggy's taken a dive. He is dropped to the floor like you wouldn't believe. And Nigel spotted it. And this is another thing about him, the one-liners, but he's come over straight to Hoggy. He's like, "Come here, boy." And you can tell he's getting a telling off. I think Greg Laidlaw almost thought he was going to get sent off for diving. And what he said, something like, he said, "Dive like that again, and you can come back in 2 weeks because the football match will be on for that." And you hear Greg Laidlaw crack up, laughing through the rest mic, but it is hilarious. And then Hoggy, you can tell he's so embarrassed, and we never let him live that one down. And he would have thought that was dead and buried, but I've just brought it back up, so make sure we get that one in there just to annoy him. But that's good old Nige for you.
That sounds good. Yeah, he was always, he had many a sassy one-liner, I found.
Yeah,
he was brilliant. Well, guys, thanks to Manscaped and their top-of-the-range male grooming products for supporting another episode of the RugbyPass Offload. Oh, you've got it there. Wonderful. So, guys, I want to ask you, who was the best and worst groomed player in your international changing room?
You're meant to say no, because we're going to get a... Oh, mate.
I've got... I think every team's got... You got vanity. Like, every team's got what you call a sky cut or a tis week kind of haircut or TV game haircut. Everyone kind of gets sharpened up there. For me, Luther Burrell, cocoa butter within an inch of his life, preened, silky smooth. Stephen Myler, I'm talking hairdryer in the kit bag, making sure his lid was done after a game. Dave Atwood sat cross-legged, filing his nails before a test match. Strange. I don't know if that was a calming effect, but big man in the corner just grinding away. Smelliest. I played with a guy called Nacho Lobe. The irony is he smelled like cheese. Big Argentinian. Used to wear this big Adidas bowling shirt out on team socials. He thought it was cool because it was given to him free by the Union of Argentina. That was their kit supplier at the time. I think it still is, Eddie. But he used to wear this honking big bowling shirt. But yeah, he was like a dad. We won't go to the nether regions. But I'm actually scared of him. He's like the Godfather. If he ever finds out I've said he stinks, he's going to come for me.
Dale, have you looked through your thing? Have you seen this one?
Yeah, the ball toner and the ball deodorant. Yeah, man.
Ball toner? What, was it just stop him from getting saggy?
Apparently that's a thing for later in life.
And I'm guessing
there's a surge of ball tucks being done.
Oh,
Men
wow.
signing up for ball tucks. Yeah.
You are kidding me. That's amazing.
It's interesting that you've looked into this, Dylan.
I'm just up to date with current affairs and pop culture.
I'm gonna try this out on.
Don't do it now.
Why?
Up the nose.
Oh, jeez. Christ.
How'd that go for you?
Yeah, it's all right.
Do you feel like you can breathe better?
I've never used one of them. Have you, Dylan?
Yeah. I've used that one.
Your little girl trimmed your nose, didn't she?
Yeah, she put it up my nose. It was all right. Quite liked it.
Oh, Ryan.
There's some serious bushes going on around the place, which you never want to be that guy that goes into the shower and has a full-on bush, as we were discussing earlier on, like in the Japanese onsens. Like, they laughed at boys when they had it trimmed. They thought it was weird. but you never want to be one of those guys. I don't want to throw too many people under the bus. You've just done it. I still have to play with these guys, Dylan.
I didn't mention nether regions. I was talking about cocoa butter, filing nails, hair dryer, and someone who smelled like
Dylan
cheese.
was very diplomatic with his answers.
Yeah. I'll say one thing. With me and John Barkley, we used to room together a lot, all the time. We'd only ever try and room together. And it was almost like a ritual of when we met up together, we'd have a check of each other's downstairs nether regions just to see how we go. And it would be like a ritual of the grooming session. And John Barkley, over his time, has clogged up many a sink in hotel rooms. Like, I think it's more the fact it's easier doing it in a hotel because then you don't clog up your own sink back at home. So there's been some pretty hideous sights left.
I was going to say, he's got a lovely beard, doesn't he?
Perfectly groomed beard.
I can only imagine what down below's like.
Quite hairy arms, but we've got into those as well. We've trimmed those before. But yeah, he would go in and have a good clean up session when we're in the hotels because he didn't want to clog up his own sinks.
There you go, Christina. You signed up for this, and this is what you're getting.
Yeah, I was kind of just thinking that to myself. I was like, oh, this is why people say rugby players are weird.
I thought that's what this whole thing was for. Like, you telling me that's for my beard, or is that for my pubes?
That's for your balls, yeah. It's plastic, so it can't cut you.
Why are you talking about, like, head and chins when Manscaped are wanting us to promote getting it tidy downstairs?
Did you read the newspaper that came with it? It's got different designs in there.
I did see that. That was quite impressive. I've demonstrated. I've tried out a few different things. I've done the arrow before just for a laugh. So go into the change rooms and you jump in the showers and it just to give boys a good laugh. Had the arrow down there before. That was good fun. You've got to have a bit of fun with it, haven't you, when you're in the changing room? That's probably my favourite time.
Do you? I don't know.
Dude, did you never do anything like that? You never have boys do stupid stuff like that, like shaving the old runway strip?
I've seen a few Movembers down below on the boys.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. So I'm excited to experiment.
Anyway, so don't forget you can get 20% off everything at manscaped.com and free shipping using the code offload. So go and check them out and get yourself or your loved ones sorted for Christmas. So guys, we're going to move on to some offload tourist picks. So it's a line summer coming up. So we're building a team of great tourists, fantastic men to hang out with, who lift spirits and are barroom heroes. Already in the 15 are Chris Ashton at 11, James Downey in the centre, props Dave Kilcoyne and John Welsh, and Andy Powell in the back row. So now I need one more player from each of you, please, and a story to back up why you've chosen them, but also extra points if it's Christmas themed.
Right, mine is 14, because there's a winger in there already, Nico Matawalu, the Fijian. Anyway, this guy is a special man and he would be perfect for a touring squad. My Christmas story for him is when he first got here, which would have been 9 years ago maybe, and he was fresh as they come, and he arrived in Glasgow with his bula shirt, his sulu, the little skirt thing they wear, and a pair of leather like Birkenstock type things, which weren't Birkenstocks, but that's pretty much all he turned up with. Anyway, he had no family, so I said to him, listen, Nick, you can come back with me down to London for Christmas. So I took him back down to London, and the first thing I did was landed. My old man picked us up. I'll try and cut it short because it's quite a long one, but I've got back to my old man's, got him in there, dropped him off. Anyway, I'm going back to where my wife was staying with the kids at this time, so I've headed back over to her mum's house and left Nico with my old man. I said, listen, look after him. I'll come and pick him up in the morning. So it's Christmas Eve. Nico has, my old man's phoned me probably, I'd say 1:30 in the morning. And he's phoned me saying, you absolute wanker. And I was like, whoa, what's wrong? He said, you know exactly what's wrong. He said, you know exactly what you've done. You've left him here on purpose. I know you have. He said, what is wrong with this guy? And I was like, what do you mean? And I'd known Nico for a year or so. I hadn't been on the piss with him too much. Anyway, he decided to, like, my old man can drink as well. Like, my old man can seriously drink. And they'd started on the gin. He said he'd done a whole bottle of gin, whole bottle of Disaronno. And he was tearing into the whiskey at like 1:30, Christmas Day, effectively now. And my old man's like, he just won't go to sleep. He won't stop drinking. He's like, what? So I get on the phone to Nico. I'm like, Nico, you got to go to bed, mate. Go to bed. I can't pick you up in the morning. Anyway, turn up the next morning, Christmas Day. We are picking him up, me and my wife, and we're taking him to Walton-on-Thames to her auntie's house. And her auntie won't mind me saying this. Quite posh people. This £1 million house up in Walton-on-Thames. I've turned up to pick Nick up. He is absolutely steaming drunk. Still like bloodshot eyes. This little Fijian is fresh off the islands. I'm like, Nick, you all right? Yeah, come on. Anyway, we get there. Walton-on-Thames, walk in. He does his normal things. He's giving everyone the hug and the kisses, straight into the beers. We've sat down for Christmas dinner, and he's sat at the... Oh, before that, we've given him his presents. Like you said earlier, Dils, give him a set of gloves, straight on. Oh, lovely. He's got a real high-pitched voice, bless him. Scarf goes on. Terry's chocolate orange, breaks it open. Everyone sat there opening the presents, put them next to it. He's eaten the whole Terry's chocolate orange in one go. Bottle of Malibu, opens it up, starts swigging out the bottle. He's got a woolly hat, gloves, scarf, eating this chocolate orange, drinking, and this is like 11 o'clock in the morning, steaming. Anyway, obviously all her family are like, what is going on here? What is going on? We've sat down at this beautiful big long table for Christmas dinner, and Bex's auntie's pulling the turkey out the oven, this massive turkey out the oven. I swear to God, people don't think this is true. That's why it would have been good to get Nick on it, and he would have confirmed this. They pulled the turkey out the oven, and as they're pulling it out, I swear to God, he is trying to pull the wing off of the turkey. He's there pulling at it. I want the wing. I want the wing. It's... And Bex is like, he's like shooting him away. Get off. I'm like, Nico, what are you doing? I want the wing. Like, Nick, mate, you got to sit down. So he sits down. I swear he's got a plate full of food like that with this massive turkey wing on top, like a Cheshire cat sat at the head of the table. And everyone's sort of like said grace, and he's done his Fijian grace like for everyone. Oh, lovely, lovely. In he goes, hands in there, just gets stuck in, like chewing at the bones. I'm sat at the other end of the table, like dying, like crying my eyes out. This is priceless. Anyway, he devours this meal. Everyone's still like sort of eating away nicely, quite posh and proper. He's just got up, and Bex just looked at me and she's like, what's he doing now? I was like, just leave him. Let him be. Bless him. He's gone over to the sink. It's one of these lovely open plan kitchens. He's turned the taps on, and he's gone for the old surgical wash in the sink. He's gone for the wash of the face, and then he's gone for the cup, the water, and he's drinking at his hands out of the sink. And all the Baxter's family are just looking like, what is going on? And I couldn't keep it together. I've lost it. He's drinking out of the sink. He's not just come back and sat at the table. He's walked straight past the table, sat on the sofa just by the way there, opened his bottle of Malibu, and boom, just starts swigging at it. Swigs this bottle away, swigs this bottle of Malibu away, lies back and falls asleep. And that was him. And I'm just like, I'm in awe of this guy. I'm like, this is amazing. Absolutely no care. And it was only after that he told me in Fiji, they don't sleep. From Christmas to New Year's, they just have like catnaps. He said they almost just catnap, and they just celebrate for that full, whatever, 7 days or 6 days it is. And that was the start of it. And I remember taking him back to Glasgow the day after, and it was the first training session he's ever missed. And Gregor Townsend was like, what happened to Nico? What have you done to him? And he's still like bloodshot eyes, completely hungover, couldn't train. And that's my first Christmas with Nico Matawalu.
And your last probably, was it?
Oh no, we've had him plenty more times. I somehow adopt the Fijians. I don't know how it happens, but I end up going to church with them at Christmas and Easter and taking the kids with us. So that was just one of the times. But what a man! So to have that man on that tour, he would be something special.
All right.
Oh God, I'd say he'd get everyone into a lot of trouble if he came on this tour. No, he sounds like a good one. Will you get him on the podcast for us?
100%.
Can you do that impression one more time, please? I want the wing.
I want the wing. I want the wing. You wait till you hear him. He's hilarious. I've been in Nando's with him when he first got here, and people sat in Glasgow, of all places, sat having a Nando's. Nico goes over the baby, kisses the baby on the head, holds the baby by the head, kisses the baby on the head. Lovely, you like it, baby? Lovely. I'm like, Nick, you can't do that, mate. What are you doing? Oh, don't be stupid. Lovely. I'm like, Nico, mate, you can't just kiss random people's babies. He's like at another level. He's honestly one of the most amazing people I've ever met. and he is hilarious. We'll get him on it, but he's a typical Fijian. You put the camera on him, pretends he can't speak English, starts thanking God, and that's about it.
Oh God. Okay. Well, Dylan, I don't know how you're going to top that story.
I can't really top that.
Go on. You have to tell us who your pick is.
I can't divulge too much, but I just need to say the name, and I'll tell you a quick story about this man. Neil Best, Irish open side flanker. For anyone listening that knows Neil Best, you'll understand completely why he's in this touring team. Like every good Irish person I know, loves a drink, is the life and soul of the party. We had a Christmas party a few years ago, and this is something I learned as a captain, is taking a team into public places is a no-no. And it took me 4 or 5 years to work that out. So, I ended up having all team socials basically in the changing room, because you put 40 to 50 blokes together, a whole lot of alcohol, like all social norms go out the window. And you'd think by putting 40 to 50 blokes out in public, social norms would curb some of that stuff, but it doesn't. We hired a bus and we did like a pub crawl around Northampton, double-decker bus, decorated all in Christmas, fancy dress and whatnot. We're on there, and we did a pub crawl. And the first kind of bar we go into, it's all kind of civil, and the second one, third one, and then throughout the night, through the I think we did 12 pubs at Christmas. Things started going missing from the pub, so the double-decker bus started collecting everything from baubles to pool cues to clocks.
Humans.
So we had Christmas trees. We were taking Christmas trees from pubs. And I just want to say, the worst thing about being a captain as well is Sunday going around your community, apologising and kind of emotionally paying people off, hat in hand, while all the boys are just hung over in bed. This is one of those things about leadership that people don't see. You have to go do the cleanup job. But throughout that process of the night, actual full park benches got put onto the double-decker bus. Like I said, Christmas trees, a card reader machine, all these things were taken. But the one thing that we couldn't return the next day was a pub's goldfish. Neil Best picked up the goldfish out of the goldfish bowl, put it in his pint and downed it, and the fish was never seen again.
Oh my God.
But he was I don't know if he invented it, but these are back in the days. He was a little bit older than me, and when we used to go out, you'd get in a round and you'd buy pints, and I don't know what the guys do now. Do they buy bottles and stuff like that? But he would walk in and he would buy 2 bottles of vodka, and he'd keep the the pourer on it, and he would go around and he would just shove it in anyone's mouth and say "Suki calf, Suki calf." You'd have to drink from the bottle like a Suki calf. He basically got things going, but that fish story will live with me for a very long time. Funnily enough, when he lived in Northampton as well, he lived one door down from the local pub, and it was like a bit like a marriage, that pub. He was kind of barred from it, then he was back in it, then he was barred from it, then he's back in it. Brilliant guy, life, good team man, life and soul of the party. Get him on our tour, Neil Best.
Sounds good.
This tour's just getting like a stag doing that.
It's an exciting little team we're putting together. Imagine we actually all got them in a room together. I'd say it would be carnage.
I'd say everyone would pick the pretty decent players as well. Like Neil Best in his prime was dangerous. And you look at those other names like Nico and the other boys we've got, it could be pretty decent.
Well, that's it from us. Thanks to Billy and Freddie Burns, Dylan Hartley and Ryan Wilson, and thanks to you for listening. Make sure to subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts so you get it as soon as it's released. Leave us a rating and review if you can, and don't forget to check us out on YouTube as well. Merry Christmas from the RugbyPass Offload team. We'll be back for much more offloading in the new year. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Rate and review.